Okay, so in today's video, we're going to be talking about fundamentally all that you need to know about the golf swing. Now, the reason for this video is because the two videos that are going to be following this one are live lesson discussions. So you're going to see a golfer, you're going to see two golfers actually, who come traditionally more over the top and how we are fixing it or how we fixed it. Won't ruin the surprise yet. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with you. But a recent video that I talked about on the channel, I also talked about a wall drill, right? And it's had some really good receives. Some of you heard about me hitting the TV. I might have been close, I don't know. One day we'll find out. But it was about the wall drill. And basically, if you haven't seen that video, it was my most recent upload. I just talked about the feeling of starting the downswing, of getting the butt end of the club against the wall. It will help you trigger more chest rotation. Fine. Some people, and quite rightly, were like, oh no, that would lead to X, Y, Z, all sorts of problems. And they're right as well, okay? So how can you possibly both be correct, and where does that leave you? Hence this video. So all we are trying to do with the golf club is get a repeatable ball flight, okay? Whether that's a bit draw, whether it's a bit fade, whether it's straight, whether you're not in control, some shots draw, some shots fade, but the dispersion isn't too wide is what we're after. And the way you're going to do that is by basically swinging the club on plane, right? That's all that matters. Now, for some of you that don't know exactly maybe what plane is, we'll talk about that in much more detail if necessary, again, in the future. But for a simple point of reference, what I'm going to do is I'm going to place this cane on the floor, and this cane is going to represent our target line, okay? So if you were down the driving range, that would represent the direction where you're going. So it's known as your ball to target line. I've got a tall rotation stick here. Another good training aid for this type of thing is the Total Golf Trainer. This isn't a paid promotion, nothing like that. They're just a couple of training aids which I'd suggest that are decent at doing this. The Total Golf Trainer, if you're uncertain, is this type of device. The benefit of this one is that it's bendable, has maybe more functions. Some people like this one. The benefit of this one is that the contraption on the end, I'd suggest, is slightly better. Anyway, the reason why we're using this, I'll show you in a moment. So, how do we swing the club on plane? Well, it's it's very simple to understand, because what happens in the golf swing, the club head, right? So the club head itself swings on an arc, right? And that basically just means this area here of the line towards me is known as in, and this area over here is known as out. So what should happen is, as we swing the club back and we come into our downswing, the club head should travel in to square to in to the best of our capability. We want to avoid it swinging too much in to out, and we want to avoid it swinging too much out to in. So how do you control what the club head's doing? Well, it lies in the shaft. And how do you control what the shaft of the club is doing? It's really simple, because the shaft of the club actually just travels in a straight line. The reason why the club head works on an arc is basically because the shaft of the club travels straight back, okay? Travel straight, travel straight, travel straight. We'll come over that again. And that creates the illusion of the club head creating this sort of, or the club head working on more of an arcing motion, right? So another way, just in case you don't believe me, but I've done this video a few times on the channel, and I know the subscribers are going to be, like, okay, we don't want another laser pen video. But if I was to hold this laser pen to the side of the shaft of my golf club here, you can see the way it's shining down the line. So if I take the club, can you see the way the laser pen is just tracing, yeah? So it's just tracing a straight line back. I obviously run out of room about here, but it would carry on tracing a straight line up to when the club shaft is parallel. If I now turn it upside down, and I'm also going to use my my TRS stick for this example as well. Sorry, I probably won't demonstrate the best club face position here because it's a little awkward, but you can again see the way that it'd follow the line back. Yet again, come down and through. And if I didn't run out of room, it would carry on traveling in a straight line through. And then yet again, we come back down into the downswing, travels in a straight line, straight line, straight line, and yet again, you travel it on the way through. So a laser pen is a great way to practice, and what you can do with the laser pen is just tape it to the side of the shaft, and loads of my online students, if not I hope all of them, do that, because I always ask them, are they doing it? Because I think it's a really good tool. So we're going to go back to this, the TRS. So we go back, the TRS points down towards the line. As you swing through, the TRS points down towards the line, and if you sequence it correctly with the correct movement, the TRS should miss your lead side like so, and then you can swing through and the TRS will eventually sort of catch up with you. But by the by, that's exactly the point. Okay, so the only thing you need to know about the golf swing is the concept of playing. So what we'll find though, and this is where I think people get a little bit lost, what we'll find is that some of the videos, like we've seen recently on the channel, I'm talking a lot about the trail side driving and a lot about rotation. And the reason why is because that's because we've seen golfers that swing too much this way. So this golfer is, shall we say, too lead arm dominant this way. So they need their trail arm to move, to support, to get them back on plane. I am starting to see, right, again, prompting this video, my last two face-to-face lessons, I've got golfers that are moving this way too much, so the hands are going out. So they need to think more about maybe pulling down with the lead arm to get the club back on plane. So you have to understand your swing to figure out what the thought is, okay? And that's why I wanted to talk about this video in particular, because you've got loads of different feelings in the golf swing. You can think about driving your elbow. Sometimes I talk about just moving the lead shoulder, because that is much more of a sort of lead arm dominant and pulling that club down. It's fine, absolutely fine, as long as you are swinging that club, bosh, 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 on plane. If you're somebody who's too steep and too over the top, it makes sense for you to think about this. And if you're somebody who's too much this way, then it makes sense for you to think more about pulling the arm down, because you need to get it back on plane. And that's it. And that's why I thought this video, you need to figure out, is it the right side that's moving? Is it the left side that's moving? It's relative to each golfer, and it's relative to each golfer's problem. And hopefully this video, not only is it the most important thing, because it fundamentally is, because everything you're doing in the golf swing, either from a biomechanical perspective or just an actual, like, you know, well, yeah, biomechanical perspective, in terms of how you move, is to influence how the club is moving on plane. That's it. You just need to understand what it is that you're struggling with so that you can figure out how to get better at this. So I'm hoping that this video will pave a good way now, because we'll see a couple of golfers that get too steep, and in the future we'll see some that get too laid off, and we're going to talk about the different feelings. And that's it for now. So hopefully you've enjoyed the video. Keep working hard. I'll catch up with you guys again really soon.